Yeah, happy Friday to you here. It's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you on EWTN Radio. I'm Jerry Usher, along with Debbie Georgiani. Ace McKay is on the controls. He is our producer. Jeff Burson is going to watch your social media comments on Facebook and YouTube with the video streams. And Matt Gabinski is going to screen your calls at a number we'll give you here in just a moment. But Debbie, we're heading into Mother's Day weekend, so we're going to do a topic that's appropriate for that, I think.
We're honoring our moms, living or deceased, today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. And we're asking the question, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of your mom? Okay, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of your mom? Okay, so we want to hear from you. You can share the story about your mom. If she is living, please, if you feel comfortable, give us her first name. We have the prayer book out. We want to honor moms this entire weekend. If she has gone on to meet the Lord, same thing. We have the prayer book is for the living and the deceased of the Take Two family members. So here is the number. Fill the phone lines. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of your mom? Okay, let's go. 833-288-3986. Don't get started with your Mother's Day weekend yet. You got to weigh in on the show. And then you can use this show because it's recorded. And so you can always play it for your mom if she's still with us over and over and over again.
Yeah. Well, we got some social media comments already and some emails, too. You can always email take2@ewtn.com. Just a little caveat with email. Try and keep it brief because we kind of review them and read them on the fly and then decide whether we're going to get them onto the program or not. So if it's like several paragraphs, it's just not going to make it, I don't think. But as I said earlier, you can also comment on the social media sites, Facebook and YouTube. Hello, you guys. Got some great people who are there every day. We appreciate that so much. And, of course, the take2show.com website, but of course the phone number 833-288-EWTN 833-288-3986.
So I was talking to a dear friend this morning, and she loves this topic, and she was sharing about her late mom, Agnes, and she said the first thing that comes to mind is what my mother always said to me when I was when I started dating boys, and you'd have those breakups that happen, and they're really traumatic for young girls, and her mother Agnes always said, "Men are like buses. There's another one around the corner every 10 minutes." That was from Agnes.
I was waiting for the punchline on that one.
Men are like buses. There's another one coming around the corner every 10 minutes. So that was her way of consoling her teenage daughter as she went with those with the breakups that happen in high school, which can be really tough, emotionally tough. But I thought that was great advice by Agnes. So I'm hoping she's in heaven, God willing, smiling right now, laughing at that. Mm-hmm. How about you? What do you think of Dorothy?
When I think of my mom,
quickly.
I was thinking about this during the night. Tireless was the word that came to me because she raised 5 kids basically as a single mom. She didn't miss a football game. She didn't miss a Little League game. She didn't miss a basketball game. She didn't miss the school play. I mean, with 5 kids running in 5 different directions, it was like she was 5 people, So that was one. I have so many other things I could say about my mom, but the word tireless just popped into my mind suddenly when I thought about that during the night.
Interesting. Yeah. Very interesting. I love that. Okay, so we have a couple open phone lines. We'd love to hear from you. What's the first thing you think of when you are remembering your mom or thinking about your mom? When you're ready to call her, if she's with us here on Earth, you want to getting ready to call her. What do you think about right before you're ready to dial that number to talk to your mother? 833-288-3986.
Well, I'm reminded of a Matt Maher's song, Alive and Breathing. He says, if you're alive and breathing, praise the Lord. Well, if you're alive and breathing, you have a mom. Okay, it's just that simple. We all come from the wombs of our mothers, so you've got to have something to say on this topic. We should blow these phone lines up, which I know is going to happen here in just a moment. Like Debbie said, 1 or 2 lines still available. Matt Gabinski, a busy man already, at 833-288-3986. What is the first thing, just real quick, that suddenly pops into your mind when you think of that dear mother of yours? 833-288-3986. What about you, Deb?
Well, of course, the first thing about my late mother, Connie, she was amazing. Every time I say her name, I just crack up. My mother was hysterically funny. She was so funny. She had a quick wit about her. She had a quick comment about people, things. She was a delight to be around. I mean, people used to call her Sunny because she was just made everybody happy. And I tell this story a lot, but she loved Jerry, absolutely loved him. And she always used to say, that nice fella. He's such a nice fella.
She liked me, but she didn't know me very well, if she called me a nice fella.
Yeah, she always said that nice fella. But Connie she was a hoot. Oh, we got kicked out of a lot of places. We almost got kicked out of church one time because she had me laughing so hard. I was down at the kneeler and I said, "Mom, if you don't stop, the priest is gonna stop the mass and we're gonna get kicked out of church." It was a funeral mass.
Oh wow! Well, I can safely say I've never been 86 from a church before.
Yeah, I know, but I'm sure. Well, Connie used to get kicked out of Catholic school too. She had a free spirit. She really wanted to be a stage actress, but instead she was married with 6 kids. But she did a great job. Anyway, that's my mom, my late mother, Connie.
Well, again, as we mentioned, those phone lines are filling up, so please join us. In the meantime, on Facebook, we have some comments already. This is our topic today is what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of your mom? 833-288-3986 is the number. Roberta says on Facebook, she says, what comes to mind when I'm thinking of my mom is praying the rosary, cooking, and raising 11 children, Debbie. Wow.
Ooh,
that's
11.
from Roberta. Yeah.
Wow. That's over double yours.
It is,
You had
yeah.
5, right? Wow.
It's not quite double yours, though.
I know. It was a lot of kids in a small house. When I look at our house that we grew up in New Jersey, it's amazing that 8 of us all survived in that tiny little house.
Well, when I was a kid, we moved from Seattle down to the Washington coast, and we actually owned 2 small houses. So our family was living in 2 different houses. It was really kind of a unique arrangement.
Oh, so you split
really
up the
small.
family?
Well, they were right next to each other. I mean, literally like 20 feet apart. The houses were like 20 feet apart. So we saw each other and did everything together every day.
Yeah.
But just at night, we would go to our respective house and go to sleep.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah,
Okay, so we want you to join us. We're honoring moms today. A couple days before Mother's Day. It's important. This is your show, Take 2 with Jerry and Debbie. Please call in at 833-288-3986. And when we come back, we got Kathleen and Candace and Jeanette and another Kathleen and some more folks calling in about their moms.
Sunday is Mother's Day, and EWTN Radio remembers our moms all day today. Our shows will celebrate the love and sacrifices our mothers brought to our lives all day today on EWTN Radio.
This is Bob Groppe, General Manager of Divine Mercy Radio in Melbourne, Florida. Catholic Radio has been providing Catholics and others solid ground in these particularly troubling times with news including threats to our culture, situational on-air counseling, apologetics for Catholics and others, and biblical teaching for growth and holiness. Catholic Radio is not just radio, it's radio that makes a difference.
The world needs EWTN Catholic Radio, now more than ever.
This is Jerry Usher. If you missed part of today's show, catch the encore tonight at midnight Eastern or anytime at EWTN Podcast Central. Visit us at EWTN.com/radio/podcasts.
The most original Catholic content is on EWTN Radio.
This is Ryan Penny, and this week on the Catholic Sphere, Andy Bukoris, Enoch, and Jordan Burke join me as we talk about real manhood and how it's portrayed on social media.
The Catholic Sphere, Sunday afternoon, 2:30 Eastern on EWTN Radio.
Hey, you can listen for the Holy Sacrifice, the Mass, celebrated every 2 hours on EWTN Radio Essentials. Plus, of course, devotionals like the Rosary, Chaplet of Divine Mercy, the Stations of the Cross, and others every single hour. So you got the Mass every 2 hours, devotionals every hour. You can hear EWTN Radio Essentials on the EWTN app and at EWTN.com. So make sure you have that app download it on your phone. A lot of great stuff there from EWTN.
Okay, so we will go to the phones as promised. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. We will go to the.
Nothing. Go ahead.
Kathleen is up next, and she's up first, I should say. Bowling Green, Ohio, Annunciation Radio. Hi, Kathleen.
Hi, Debbie and Jerry. First thing I have to tell you is I love your show. You have such a wonderful ministry to all of us, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathleen. And Kathleen, the $5 is in the mail, okay?
Okay. The first thing I think of when I think of my mother, Margaret, is she never, ever gave up praying for me. When I was in my 20s, I had a horrific drug and alcohol problem, and she just prayed. And as hopeless as my situation seemed, she never gave up. She had a strong devotion to our Mother Mary. I got clean and sober in 1981, and I need to tell you that the first recovery group building that I attended, like maybe 5-6 times a week, was in the shadow of the Immaculate Conception Church. And that just gives me goosebumps when I think about it.
Amazing. And so Margaret is her name. And so obviously she had a deep devotion to the Sacred Heart with the name Margaret, right?
Yes, she did. Yes,
Beautiful.
she did. Well, I guess I'm here to tell any mothers out there, if you have kids with alcohol and drug problems, just keep bombarding heaven with prayers. Never, ever give up.
Yeah. Okay, so one other, in addition, tell me a little bit, just real quickly, of Jerry and I want to know her personality. What was her personality like?
She was the mother that, if you can recall when you were in high school, all your friends loved her. She was like everybody's mother. They all congregated at our house. She was a cook. She was always cooking for everybody. She passed in 1989, and there's not a day that I don't think of her in some way.
Wow.
Beautiful. Yeah, my mom, I mentioned her at the start. You might have heard me mention that, Kathleen, tireless. She never missed any activity of us 5 kids. And actually, at my sister's senior year in high school, she was awarded Mom of the Year. See, I always knew she favored my sister, but that was proof of it right there. So, could we get the name of your...
Margaret.
You said somebody else passed away. Margaret. You mentioned somebody else, didn't you, that passed away, Kathleen, or no?
No, just Margaret.
No? Okay, yeah. All right, my bad on that one. But yeah, great call. Thank you so much. Sounds like you had a great mom. I was going to mention the Blessed Mother when Kathleen went ahead and mentioned that. I was going to say, it sounds like she's really like our Blessed Mother. Just pray for her spiritual children. So, good call.
Absolutely. And Kathleen just freed up that phone line. And Kathleen, if you're still listening, thank you so much for the kind words about our ministry. We really, really appreciate it. And please pray for the Take Two family. Okay, Candace is up next, and Candace is in Houston, Texas on Guadalupe Radio Network. Hello, Candace. We're talking about your mom today.
Hi, Debbie. Oh, I just love this. This is so beautiful because I think of my mother, too, every day. And she was just such a saintly mother. She passed away on October 2nd of 2021. She was very involved always in the church. She was president of Archdiocese Council of Catholic Women and Catholic Daughters, Women's Auxiliary. And such a joy. She reminds me of your mother because she liked to laugh, and she was so positive. And she lived to be 94. And I have 2 sisters, and we took turns a week at a time taking care of her towards the end. And we just didn't like it when she'd have to go to the other house because that was our favorite thing, just to take care of our mother. She was our dear friend.
Oh, and your mom's first name, Candace?
Irene Hundel's her name, Irene. And she was prayerful, always moving her lips, always praying. We prayed the rosary together. She was always praying, and she prayed the most guardian angel prayer. And
Oh,
Debbie, it was amazing because she was in the hospital the last month because her heart was slowing down and she kept building up fluid. And then I looked, it was like 5 something in the morning when she passed away, and I looked what feast day. It was Guardian Angel Feast Day. Oh, I
Wow.
just couldn't believe it.
oh,
I
wow.
know.
Oh, okay. That's incredible. That is
It,
okay. That just warmed my heart. Yeah, amazing. But see, there's no accident with God. There's no accident, so He's always going to bless and to show His magnificence when we enter into prayer. And it sounds like your mom, Irene, she had that beautiful, prayerful, joy-filled presence and her disposition. Wow, Candace, you hit a home run with your mom.
Thank you. My mother and dad were both very holy, and they knelt down every night, and with the 6 of us kids, and we all prayed together around the bed every night. So we were
Nice.
blessed with a great family.
Nice. Sounds like it. Sounds like it. Beautiful, Candace. Have a great weekend and a happy Mother's Day. If you're a mother, we hope and pray that it is safe and beautiful and blessed for all of the mothers who are going to be celebrating this Sunday. 833-288-3986. If you have a mom, and you do, tell us what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of her. 833-288-3986. Over to Donna. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we have a lot of social media stacking up with Facebook and YouTube. We will get to you guys. We'll weave you in for sure. We definitely want to respect the chats that are happening there. So you always, you can make a comment there, or you can email us. If you want to send a picture of your mom, I love pictures at take2@EWTN.com. Okay, Jer.
All right, Donna in Louisiana, listening on Christ Our King Radio. Hello, Donna. Welcome to Take Two on a Friday.
Hello. I just kind of discovered the radio station just a couple of weeks ago, and I'm
Excellent.
enjoying it and appreciating it. And I just wanted to call in to honor my mother, Helen. That's the first thing. But I really want to honor, too, all the mothers in my family tree, because we have had some amazing role models. And my mother, the thing that comes to my mind with her is a devoted soul. She was devoted to her faith, her family, and her friends. And just a prayerful person and a lady of service. Anybody in need, she was there for. She thought of others at all times. She would send out birthday cards to every generation under her, and would have a personal note in it. And at Christmas, she could make pralines, and she made many, many, many batches, even though I could see in her hands they were becoming arthritic. And I'm going to cry. I'm sorry. And I would watch her fill out these Christmas cards with such a personal touch to each one of them. So I'd like to honor my mother today.
Oh, Donna, thank you for letting yourself get emotional. That's never a problem, especially on this show. I mean, we are very real here, and we just want to hear, directly from your hearts. And it sounds like your mother had an amazing motherly heart. Everything that you described, I would lump them all together and say motherly. Your mom was very motherly, which is maybe sounds like an obvious statement, but to put the personal touch onto everything like that, and then you saw her with her arthritic hands making those pralines and stuff. I'm sure up till the very end of her life, she was just loving people, those in her life, and probably those not directly in her life, maybe friends and neighbors and so forth. So, Donna, it sounds like you had a great mother, Helen.
I just believe that the good Lord is letting all the moms today, especially when we're doing the show, hear what are their children are saying about them. I think it's so beautiful. The fact that you got emotional just means it's your love. I think it is incredible. Keep that emotion for your mom, because I think in this day and age, moms are sometimes disrespected and disregarded and pushed away. And you just gave a beautiful honor to Helen, Donna. I think it just shows your heart.
Thank you. I'll leave on one more humorous note so that it's not looking too bad. I'm all emotional, but we would gather for a family rosary, and my mother would kneel on the hard floor with perfect posture, and she would say the first half of the prayer. But when I walked in the room, my dad had about 4 pillows under his knees, and he was stretched out on the mattress of the bed. And I was a teenager, so I thought my dad had it going on. So I did the thing with the pillows, too. The very first Our Father, she said the first half, and nobody answered. We had fallen asleep. So I always said my mother taught me how to pray, but my dad taught me how to rest.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. When did your mom pass, Donna?
He died in 2007.
2007.
In October of 2007.
Yeah. You probably think of her every day, huh?
Oh, yes. Miss her terribly.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, that's love. That is love between a mother and especially a daughter. That's incredible. Thank you, Donna, for gracing this conversation today and for listening to Catholic Radio. Stay connected with Catholic Radio because we're a family. Right, Jer?
Absolutely. 833-288-3986 in anticipation of Mother's Day on Sunday. What's the first thing, or maybe even the second thing that comes to your mind when you think of your mom? 833-288-3986. Do you mind if I get to a social media comment
That's
or two?
what I was looking at. It's stacking up pretty quickly.
Cool. Yeah, YouTube is where Anna Marie is watching. Hello, also on Facebook, you guys. Anna Marie says, my mom raised 5 and worked the graveyard in an emergency room for 36 years. Wow. Her whole life, she helped people in their most vulnerable moments, and she was tough. She had to be, and she never learned the fine art of schmooze, LOL. She absolutely refused to fake it. She didn't like you to boss her, and she was not afraid to tell you. And Anna Marie closes by saying, I used to say, Mama, why don't you smile at that doctor who makes you work so hard? And she said, what for? I don't like him. She was very honest. I miss her greatly.
What for? I don't really.
That is brutal honesty, isn't it?
I don't like him. I know. I love that. Wow. What an incredible mom to raise a family and to work. Wow. She probably never rested. You know? Yeah, that's what I do remember about moms in general. They just seem like they were always going, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So
we'll
where
get
should
more
we go
social
next?
media, but
Okay.
Jeanette is in Antioch, California, actually watching on YouTube. Hi, Jeanette and everybody.
Hello. Hi.
Jeanette.
Thanks for having me on. I'm actually just listening on, but yeah, thanks for having me on. I want to say, when I heard it's about mother, I had to make the call, and
Sure.
I just want to say that my mom is so loving. She still lives. I went to the Philippines for her birthday to spend 90th year of her birthday, and she's very supportive and devoted to the family, very religious, always praying for us, and up to this day would always give us assistance in, like advices, and doesn't want us to make sure we don't spend too much. She always wants to make sure we don't owe anything. And that's how I remember her. And very helpful to our neighbors, not just the family. She also helped my father provide for the family. She was a teacher and very loving. Yeah, that's it.
Wow. Yeah, it's kind of there's a common thread here, Jeanette, with your call and some of the others, and that is the love and affection and attention was not only limited to your family, but to others as well. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about women in general and moms in particular is, everyone is like her child, her son or daughter, and that love just flows out to a lot of other people. And it sounds like she was also, like you said, very devout, very supportive, very much teaching you all the faith. So I think you had a great mom, it sounds like.
She's in the Philippines, and her name, Jeanette, her first name?
Her first name is Marietta. Last name is Cruz, Marietta Cruz.
Oh, beautiful.
Very helpful to everybody until now at night.
Yeah. So tell her the next time you talk to her, Jeanette, that she has a big Take Two family that's just praying for her and just honoring her. Okay?
Thank you. I will let her know. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Wow, good calls. A lot of great calls.
Great calls. Do you want to share, Kirsten, or may I?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Kirsten on YouTube, Kirsten says, I think of beauty when I think of my mom. She taught me how to be a loving, faith-filled wife and mother. God bless you, Mom. And her name was, I hope I could pronounce it right, Remy?
Is that how you Remy, yeah.
Remy, yeah. Kirsten, that is beautiful. I think of beauty when I think of my mom. I love that.
Yeah, have a blessed Mother's Day, Kirsten, since your mother taught you how to be a faith-filled wife and mother as well.
That's true.
Okay, there's more social media. We will get to those. Make your comments. Do them right now on YouTube and Facebook. We will get those over here and get as many as we can on the air. And if you're trying to call in, here's the number, 833-288-3986. 833-288-3986. Take two with Jerry and Debbie and you. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of Mom?
Your favorite EWTN radio programs are all over social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, SoundCloud, and they're available right now, on demand, day or night. Remember, EWTN is everywhere.
This is Rich Jesse, producer and production coordinator for EWTN Radio. As we remember our mothers again this year, here's something I'd like to share about my mother, Ramona, who got up early every day to help support our family and took special care to keep us in church. She's instrumental in my faith and in my family's faith. Love you, Mom. Happy Mother's Day.
Christ is the answer, with Father John Riccardo.
I repeat, I'm sure ad nauseum to the guys who are here, a line from Pope Benedict Emeritus now, who used to say over and over again, to be a Christian is not the result of an ethical choice, but the result of an event, an encounter, a meeting with the living God in the person of Jesus Christ. This and nothing less is what it means to be a Christian. So we said the new evangelization is new in ardor. That's a kind of old-fashioned word. What in the world is ardor? Ardor is zeal, fervor, passion. Are you passionate about Jesus? Passionate about Jesus? Are you zealous for Jesus? Are you fervent for Jesus? Are we fervent for the gospel? Are we passionate about helping this world come to know him?
Hi, this is Janet Williams. There's nothing like Women of Grace to explain the truth of our faith, Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern, here on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
What's the first thing you think about when you remember your mom? If she's living, then you're probably getting ready to call her or be with her this weekend for Mother's Day. Or if you're thinking about her possibly in heaven, what do you think about? We'd love to hear from you at 833-288-3986. But before we go back to the phones, I have to do a very big shout out to our friends in Northern Ohio. They need to hear from you next week. Annunciation Radio, based in Toledo, is airing their Spring Share-a-thon next Wednesday through Friday. That's when I'll be hosting, Wednesday through Friday. So if you're listening to any of their stations in Toledo, Bowling Green, Lexington, Sandusky, Port Clinton, Willard, Eden, Bryan, or anywhere, please support your EWTN Catholic radio station. Folks, it's still spring pledge drive season, and then we roll right into the summer pledge drives, okay? So when your local listening area comes to you and your local station says, please, we are listener-supported Catholic radio, please jump into action and pray about a successful pledge drive, pledge, and then pass it on. Promote the pledge drive to others. Tell a friend, please. And don't forget EWTN.
Mm-hmm. Amen. 833-288-3986. Honoring moms today, living or deceased. If you have a thought about that comes to mind when you think of your mom, please join us. We had a Kathleen to start us off with the first call. We have a second Kathleen, this one in Fort Worth, Texas, listening on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Kathleen.
Hi. Can you
Welcome.
hear me?
Just fine, yeah.
I was thinking about this when you guys started this program, and I remember that I had a very patient mother who taught me patience, and to continue to practice patience all of my life. And I am a patient person, and it's probably a good thing because I need it now. But she also taught me, you need to be pretty on the inside. You need to be kind to everyone. When someone is experiencing a lack of kindness, you need to be the one who's there, who's kind to them. And I've experienced many times in my life when somebody needed a friend. And I thought it was a great thing to have learned from my mother. I realized how strong her mother was when I was pregnant with my first baby, and she sent me prayer, the prayer One Solitary Life, and I realized my mother's teaching for me came from her mom. And my father's mother was the same way. It was a whole family of teaching the kids to do the right thing. And then I married a man whose mother was just like that. I love all those mothers in my family, all of them. They all have skills to be a mother that they taught when we were little, and now we practice as grandparents.
Well, you know what, Kathleen, patience is in such short supply in the world today, it seems, and it's a beautiful thing that your mom taught you. I was wondering, can you give an example of kind of like the approach that she took to being patient and teaching you patience? Because there can be a lot of different ways a parent can do that.
Well, I was interested in sewing when I was 7, and by the time I was 9, I was sewing on a sewing machine, but I didn't know how to make it do what I wanted it to do, and I was getting mad. And she said, stand up, get away from the machine. You go get a drink of water, use the bathroom, and think about how you're going to go back and do it the right way. She didn't even actually have to tell me what to do on the machine, although that she did that. But she did have to tell me to stop and think about what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And I realized as a teenager, I had to put that kind of thing into practice because you run into kids who want you to do something wrong, and you got to stop and think, be patient and think, no, that's not for me.
Your mom was sort of a life coach before life coaching even existed. I love that. She had you step back and take the emotion out of it and just to, process it and think. That is brilliant. Kathleen, did you give us your mom's first name? Because I have the prayer book out.
Her name is Ruth, and I would ask you to pray for her. She fell the other day, broke her hip. She has Alzheimer's very severely, and she keeps taking the hospital leads out of her arm, and they can't get her to do the right thing. And my nieces are there, and they are taking care of her, and that takes an awful lot of patience right now because my sister is too sick to be there, and they're very far away from me. So if you would pray for Ruth, I would appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. You can count on our prayers. Thank you for sharing today about your beautiful mom. And, patience, kindness, we need more of that in the world. That's great leadership in a parent there.
Yeah. Amen. Thank you for the call. I'm going to go to a couple emails here. Take 2 at EWTN.com. It says, hi, this is Carol. I'm missing my mom, and it is 15 years she is gone. She was so wonderful to everyone, and she will be missed for a very long time. Her first name was Anastasia. Beautiful name. She says, I love her and miss her. Well, Carol, we'll add your mom, Anastasia, to the prayer book, and you as well. Great sentiments you shared about your mom today.
And Michael M. says, what comes to mind when I think of my mom, God rest her soul, is kindness. Another mom with kindness. She always thought of others first.
Beautiful. 833-288-3986. We're heading into Mother's Day weekend here. Hope you had some beautiful plans for your mom if she's still alive, or if you are a mom, we hope you're honored in a very special way. And we're giving you a chance to give some kudos to your mom today. What's the first thing you think of when you think of your mom, living or deceased? 833-288-3986.
So we'll go to Chris in Decatur, Georgia, listening on our friends at The Quest. Hi, Chris.
Hey, good to hear you. I wanted to share with the world my mother's name, Betty Jean Millicent Chambers. She was as sweet as it gets. And if the devil were to sit down next to her, she'd fix him a cup of tea and listen to all of his complaints. And she might do it. And then if you ever got to see her with her righteous indignation, that was a sight to behold. But she was just as sweet. She was just as sweet as she could be.
Do you know what? I have to tell you something, Chris. You were the first male to call in for their mom. And I, as a mother of two boys, I just want to say thank you, because I think it's so incredible when sons will honor their moms. And I love the way you just said, she's the sweetest thing. She's just the sweetest thing. That means she was precious to you, Chris. And God bless you for having such a beautiful mom as Betty. What do you think, Jer?
Absolutely beautiful. I love what you said, Chris, about her. She was sitting next to the devil. She'd fix him a cup of tea and, what did you say, ask him about his problems or something like that. So, yeah, very much a beautiful woman. How long has she been with the Lord, Chris?
She died in 2001. Okay. And I'm glad she didn't see the World Trade Center come down. That would have broken her heart.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wow. Are you the only son? Are you the only child, or do you have siblings?
No, my mother was one of 4 daughters, and I'm one of 3 boys, and there's 2 of us left. And I tell you what, we could tell her, you know, and she always thought the best of everybody, and unfortunately, we kind of took advantage of that for a little bit, and but Dad would tell Mom one thing, would tell the same thing to Dad, and Dad would go, "Yeah, don't let that happen again."
Nice.
Wow.
Good, yeah, beautiful call, Chris. Hey, have a wonderful weekend, Chris. We appreciate you being part of the Take Two family and calling us in. We have that phone line that is open. We would love to get you on the program and let you share what the first thing is that comes to mind when you think of your mom. 833-288-3986.
Here's another son's comment on Facebook, and we heard from Michael too and others. So John C. says, "What do I think of first for my mother, Joan? Her irrepressible love for Christ and her 5 children."
Yeah, that's awesome. That is going to make for a good mom. If anybody has an irrepressible love for Christ, that's going to make a good mom, a good dad, good son or daughter. So it sounds like she made Jesus the center of her life, and from that just flowed all of the goodness from her motherhood. Yeah, beautiful.
To her children, yeah. Lily Teresa says, "My mother passed away last year, the day before Thanksgiving. I remember how she always said, 'I love you.' It meant so much. I wish I could hear her say it again." You know, I just have to say something about that. My heart just goes out to Lily Teresa. I was lucky enough to record my mom before she died, and so I got her to tell me that many, many times. So I listen to it all the time. Yeah, and I totally can understand that. Do you have your mother's voice on tape?
I might have her on a voicemail on my phone. I have some voicemails that go back many, many years, but I didn't.
Cool.
You know, I didn't think to tape it. I really. That's a brilliant idea, Debbie. You're always right on top of things like that.
It was actually told to me by the nurses. Nurses told me to do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's why I love the nurses. I love nurses. They're always thinking 10 steps ahead.
One more here, real quick. John via email. take2@ewtn.com. Here's my mother. He says, it says, "Good morning and God bless. The first thing that comes to mind about my mother is her enduring spirit. She dealt with a lot of medical issues, but that never stopped her from being one of the most kind and outgoing persons I've ever known. I miss her very much, and hopefully I'll see her again someday. Take care." And that's from John via email.
I love it. Beautiful. And so sons are weighing in on Facebook, and we had Chris to call in, so you can join and share about honoring your mom today. What's the first thing you think of? Please, if you dial in quickly. 833-288-3986. Jen in Minnesota has been waiting so patiently. It's on Sirius XM 130. Jen, talk about your mom.
Hey, Jerry and Debbie.
Hi,
I don't know if you. Hi, I don't know if you remember. I called in, a couple years ago, and just so you know who I am, like my daughter Amber Rose, who had a near-death experience. Do you remember us?
Yes, we do.
Hi. Well, I'm just saying that because if any other listeners, because this kind
of ties in, but this is about my mother. So thank you, Holy Spirit, for prompting me to call, because it's really what the first comments you guys just said were. It's actually like me kind of like warming my heart crazy. But anyways, so my mother, her name is Shirley, and the first thing that comes to my mind is sacrificial love, because she's like the best mother ever, and she just did everything mother, and like good homemaker. She taught me everything, how to cook and clean and all that. And I always knew I wanted to be a mother, so she was like my role model, and we ended up becoming really close friends. But when I was 18, she did pass away. She ended up getting breast cancer, and like within 4 years it took her, so it was pretty quickly to watch her go through all that. It was really hard. And the last week of her life, she kind of fell into a coma, and she everyone like got a chance to sit with her, which was a blessing. And they were all coming to me saying, like, Mom woke up out of the coma and she said, I love you, or like to her sisters or brothers, and like everybody was getting this last interaction with my mom, but I sat with her the most, and she never woke up and told me that. So it was really hard for me. And then my dad had me help after she passed away, and like I had to wash her and do her hair and makeup for like visitation. It was really hard. And I was a senior in high school, and I had to write a short story for English, and I was like going to fail if I didn't. And I was like, it was, so she passed away in April. So it was like the last month of school, and I was like, I can't write. And my teacher said, well, why? And I said, well, I can only think about my mom and how, grieving my mother. And she said, well, write about that. And I'm like, are you sure? Because it's going to be a really sad story. And she said, yeah. So I ended up writing I still have it, a short story about the last days of her life. And I was going to name it Death by Dawn, because she died like before 4 a.m. But at the last minute, I changed the name of the story to She Said I Love You. I don't know why. And I'm telling you this because, like, fast forward 21 years later, my youngest daughter has the near-death experience, and like a month later, she's telling us this whole thing about being in heaven and seeing Jesus and my mom and dad and all this stuff. And I was like, hey, did my mom have anything to say to me? Because here, 21 years of missing my best friend, not being at my wedding or birth or anything. She said, oh, yeah, like she remembered she had to tell me. She said, I love you. And at the moment, I was like, I kind of want more than that. That's awesome. But I was like, I wanted something deeper. And then 8 months later, I was driving home, and it hit me that it was the name that she said, I love you from way back then. So, like, our mothers from heaven are still loving us. It was so amazing. Like, they healed so many wounds of having lost my mother. Not to mention everything I had went through with Amber. I was like, God is so good. Like, he covered everything. So, yeah.
He sure did. God knew you had that wound in your heart, Jen, and you didn't get to hear her at the last moments of her life say that. Thankfully, you had this experience a little bit later on. But you mentioned one of the first things you said is sacrificial love was really what your mother was kind of specialized in. And so I'm sure deep in your heart and in your mind you knew that, but you still just wanted to hear those words. And like I said, God knew you wanted that, you needed that for something. You said it just brought so much healing to your life. So God he's always so solicitous of us, and provides exactly everything that we need. Deb, what do you think?
Well, and being 18 years old and having lost your mother at that young, tender age, that's tough. And so you got that beautiful connection and love message from your mom, and it does continue on. And Jen, I'm a mess. I'm holding back the tears, but as you were speaking, I could just picture everything and how beautiful is that the gift that our God, and you're so right, it's God has it covered. That God wanted you to feel that love, Jen, from your mother, and you felt it, you continue to feel it, and God bless you.
Thank you. Bless you guys, too, and thank you for your program.
Oh, you're welcome. Have a beautiful Mother's Day weekend. 833-288-3986. We've got to mention, what do we have to tell people here? It's Mother's Day. Yes. Hey, you guys, Sunday's Mother's Day, in case you didn't know. And EWTN Radio remembers our moms all day today.
All day.
What we're doing, all of the shows are doing some kind of an angle on moms today. So stay tuned. And if you don't get in or on our program, there may be other opportunities for you to share something beautiful about your mom today. So that's all day today right here on EWTN Radio.
Denise, hang on for 1 second. Mary Beth said, my mother, Carol, loved God and our faith with her whole heart. She also never said a negative thing about a person. So kind. See, there's a theme here. Our moms that have gone to meet the Lord, they were very kind souls. Karen on Jerry and Debbie Facebook page, Karen says her laughter was beautiful. Oh, Karen, I can relate to that. My mother had a laugh that it just got me rolling on the ground. And I would kind of a little bit kind of slug her in the arm, like saying, Mom, stop. You got to stop laughing. My mother would just start giggling, and it was that machine gun type giggling that it doesn't stop. And that was it. It went south from there. So.
Well, Surah via email at take2@ewtn.com says, my mom is loving and generous, makes the best food, and always sends us home with goodies for our own families. There are 5 children in the family. Her name is Mary. She says, also, my mother-in-law is equally loved. I am blessed. She loves me so much, and I love her. She always takes care of me and my kids. Her name is Janet. And that's from Surah in Farmington Hills, Michigan.
Mm-hmm. And you got to let's not forget Timoteo's ice cream story. We have to mention that.
Sure.
I think that is so precious. Okay, but Denise has been waiting so patiently in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, on the Station of the Cross online. Hello, Denise.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it. Yeah, my mom, her name is Matilda. She's 85 years old. And when I think of her, I think of the word resilience comes to mind. She's been through so much in her life, and she gave us a faith very early on. And for some reason, only one of her 5 children still continue with the faith. And I think that's, out of all the difficulties she's been through, I think the hardest one is that 4 of her children have left the faith. And even worse than that is one of them has just totally separated himself and all her grandchildren from her and my dad. And, so that I really ask for prayers. And that what I think about my mom, too, is that she was able to, she still is, able to, at the drop of a hat, 100 people come over, she can cook for them a fantastic meal. I don't know how she does it. None of her kids have inherited that skill. But she can, cook up a meal, and everyone's fed, and everyone's hungry, and there's plenty, and there's leftover, and I don't know how she did it. She said she learned to cook when she got married and by herself, and so she taught herself, and I think it was just phenomenal. And I'm just really grateful for my mom, mostly because she gave me the faith that has helped me. And I would just say that also, just one last thing, is that through all the difficulties she's gone through, and even right now she's going through a difficulty where she's got some health problems that are making it difficult to go to Mass, but through all the difficulties, she's always said, God has been so good to us.
Right.
And I have to admit, sometimes I was like, what? So, she's always said God has been so good to us through all the difficulties. My father as well. So I'm just so grateful. So that's what I want.
So,
Thank you.
Beautiful testament about your mother, Matilda. I love the name Matilda. I think it's a beautiful name. I hope you get to see your mom or talk to your mom on Mother's Day. If you do, please tell her, wow, I think it is so incredible when moms can cook like that, like you said, Denise, and it's like an abundance of food. It like never ends. It's almost like God just has all of heaven support that kitchen, and then it just, everybody's fed, and the person that is cooking, your mom, Matilda, she knows that she has given everybody a beautiful meal. I think it's wonderful. Please tell her we love her. Will you do that?
I will. Thank you so much, and God bless you both.
Thank you. That is wonderful. Wow. Okay, I wanted to share, I don't know how to pronounce the local ice cream store that Timoteo's talking about. How would you say it, Jerry?
It looks like Deitch Brothers.
Deitch Brothers.
Deitch Brothers, I would think, yeah.
But this is so sweet. So Timoteo from Findlay, Ohio sent this in. I think this is precious. Here is my motherly memory. When I see it, the local advertising for our local ice cream establishment, and that's what Jerry just shared, Deitch Brothers, I think all of the times my mother and I would venture out. Now listen to this, folks. Would venture out in the middle of winter. It could be 10 or 20 degrees to get ice cream. Okay, of course that's going to have a lasting memory because Tim, a lot of people cannot eat ice cream during the winter. They can't do it. It's just too hard to do. So that is so precious of a time with your mom.
Nice, Tim Mateo. From Jerry and Debbie Facebook page, Karen says her mother was best known for her laughter, which was beautiful. Mary Beth, my mother Carol loved God and our faith with her whole heart. She also never said a negative thing about a person. So kind. Beautiful.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay, so we do have a little bit of time. We're going to have to go rapid fire real fast through the calls. So up next is James in Columbia, Maryland on Sirius XM 130. Hello, James.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for taking my call.
Welcome.
Yep, this is my mother passed in January, so this would be the first Mother's Day without her. And what I remember most is her dedication to her church. She was always baking. She helped with the count every Sunday, and she always did the linen for the priest. And whatever they asked of her, she did. And she was so kind, and she was wonderful to all the kids in the neighborhood. And it's going to be a tough Sunday, but with the grace of God, I know we can get through it.
Yeah, you probably know, James, Debbie keeps names in our prayer book of people living and deceased, especially deceased. We're sorry about your loss. I'm sure you're going to be, like you said, you're going to be feeling that this Sunday. We'll just pray that, it's a day of peace and joy as you recall and, think back upon your mom. But if you're comfortable giving us her first name, we would definitely add that in the prayer book.
Sure. Her name was Annie.
Annie.
Okay. Annie. Oh. Yeah, it's it's hard to even describe what it feels like when you start to go through the first holidays without your mom or when a dad passes. It's tough, but the more we can, I think, celebrate their life and keep their memories alive, I think it really does help in the healing. So we want that for you, okay, James?
Well, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. We got Joe in Indiana listening on WNDZ out of Chicago. Hi, Joe. Welcome to our program.
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me okay? I have you on Bluetooth.
Yep, we got about 45 seconds for you, Joe.
Okay, all right. Well, my mom was born on one of the same days of the Fatima apparitions, August 19th, 1917. And she knew 3 Carmelites who were martyred in the Spanish Civil War. So anyway, if it weren't for her, I wouldn't have the faith. And I wanted to throw in that in her eulogy, I mentioned something that everybody listening can relate to. I mentioned her dishes, her potato salad and whatnot. They had such a distinctive taste. And, you could be blindfolded, and if you were to taste it, you would know it was your mother who made that.
Wow.
And, there's some...
Her
so
name,
much more.
her name,
Sorry.
real quick, Joe. Her
Yeah.
name. Her name? First name?
Bertha. But
Bertha.
She hated her name. She preferred the Spanish spelling,
Okay.
Certa.
Beautiful. Thank you, Joe. And we're not going to get to everyone else. And there's more comments coming in. You guys are awesome honoring your moms. Jerry, Monday is Miracle Monday Day.
That's right. We do that occasionally throughout the year. Miracle Monday. If you have experienced what you believe is a miracle, we would love to have you join. It's always a busy discussion, so please join us for that show on Monday.
Yeah, small miracles, big miracles. We really want to have confidence and trust in God, so we share the miracle stories. Until Monday, have a beautiful and blessed Mother's Day weekend. We'll see you real soon.
The most original Catholic content is on EWTN Radio.